Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss water-based paints. Before going into the details of the water-based paints, we must know about the history of paints, when and where they originated and used. Paint was one of the earliest inventions of humanity. Some cave painting drawn with red and yellow, ochre, hematite, manganese oxide, and charcoal may have been made by the earlier Homo sapien as long as 40,000 years ago. Ancient colored walls at Dendra, Egypt, which was exposed for years to the elements, still possesses their brilliant color as vivid as when they were painted about 2000 years ago. The Egyptians mixed their colors with a gummy substance and applied them separately from each other without blending or mixing. They appear to have used 6 colors, that are white, black, blue, red, yellow, and green. With the passage of time, in 1718, Marshall Smith invented a machine or engine for grinding of colors in England. It is not known precisely how it operated, but it was a device that increased the efficiency of pigment grinded dramatically. Soon a company called Emerton and Monby was advertised exceptionally low-priced paints that had been ground with labor-saving technology. So let's see about the paints. Paint is any pigmented liquid, liquefiable or solid massive composition that after application to a substrate in a thin layer converted to a solid film. It is the most commonly used to protect color or provide texture to the objects. Paint can be made or purchased in many colors and in many different styles, such as watercolor or synthetic. Paint is typically stored, sold, and applied as a liquid, but most types dry into solid. Most paints are either oil-based or water-based, and each have distinct characteristics. For one, it is legal in most municipalities to discard oil-based paint down household drains or sewage. Solvents for cleaning up are also different for water-based paints than they are for oil-based paints. Water-based paints and oil-based paints will cure differently based on the outside ambient temperature of the object being painted. Usually, the object being painted must be over 10 degrees Celsius temperature or 50 Fahrenheit, although some manufacturers of external paints or primers claim that they can be applied when temperatures are as low as 2 degrees Celsius temperature or 35 Fahrenheit. Let's see what are the function of paint and why we use them. As you know that paints save our objects by forming a thin film on it. It enhances the quality of natural and synthetic material and serves as a barrier against harsh environmental conditions. Another way, we have a decorative paint which improves the appearance and safeguard building and other objects. Industrial coatings applied in factories to finish manufactured goods such as cars, motorcycles, etc. Now let's see how a paint should be. It has the ability to be used in a variety of applications. It means that a paint has a broad spectrum utility. A paint is very good which has a broad spectrum utility. Good opacity. Paint dries very quickly. It should be dry very quickly or in a moment. Protection against water and heat. Good color. Stability against visible and ultraviolet rays. Paints are made of the following components. Number 1. Pigments. Pigments provide color and opacity. The second most important thing is the binder or resin. This adds to keep the pigment in place. Extender. Pigments that are bigger in size which help to move bonding. Next requirement is about the solvent or the thinner. To reduce the thickness of the paint for a wide variety of uses, we need a solvent or a thinner additive. Change the property of paint in order to a suitable different needs. Now let's see the one of the important component of the paint, that is the pigment dye and filler in detail. Pigments are granular solids incorporated in the paint to contribute color. Dyes are colorants that dissolve in the paint. Fillers are granular solids incorporated to improve toughness, texture, give the paint special properties, or to reduce the cost of the paint. During production, the size of such particles can be measured with the Hagman gauge rather than using only solid particles. Some paint contains dyes instead of in combination with pigments. Pigments can be classified as either natural or synthetic. Natural pigments include various clays, calcium carbonate, mica, silicas, and talcs. Synthesis would induce engineered molecules such as the calcinate clays, blank fix, precipitated calcium carbonate, and synthetic pyrogenic silicates. Hidden pigments in making paints opaque also protect the substrate from the harmful effect of the ultraviolet radiation. Hidden pigments include titanium dioxide, phthalo blue, red iron oxide, and many others. Fillers are a special type of pigments that serve to thicken the film, support its structure, and increase the volume of the paint. Fillers are usually cheap and inert material such as diatomaceous, talc, lime, biarrite, clay, etc. Floor paints that must resist abrasion may contain fine quartz sand as a filler. Not all paints include fillers. On the other hand, some paints contain large proportions of pigments or fillers and binders. Some pigments are toxic, such as lead pigments that are used in lead paints. Paint manufacturers began replacing white lead pigments with titanium white That is the titanium dioxide before the lead was banned in paints for residential use in 1978 by the US Consumer Product Safety Commission. The titanium dioxide used in most paints today is often coated with silica or alumina or zirconium for various reasons, such as better exterior durability or better heating performance, that is the opacity, promoted by more optimal spacing within the paint films. Micaceous iron oxide MiO is another alternative to lead for protection of steel, giving more protection against water and light damages than most paints. When micaceous iron oxide pigments are ground into the fine particles, most cleave into shiny layers, which reflects light, thus minimizing ultraviolet degradation and protecting the resin binder. Most pigments used in paint tend to be spherical, but laminar pigments such as glass flakes and MiO have overlap plates which impede the path of water molecules. For optimum production or performance, MiO should have a high content of thin flake-like particles resembling mica. ISO 10601 sets two levels of MiO content. MiO is often derived from a form of hematite. Now the next important part of the paint is the binder. Binder is the film forming component of paint. It is the only component that is always present among all the various types of formulation. Many binders are too thick to be applied and must be thinned. Type of thinner, if present, varies with the binder. The binder imparts properties such as gloss, durability, flexibility, and toughness. Binder includes synthetic or natural resins such as alkyds, acryls, vinyl acryls, vinyl acetate ethylene, polyurethanes, polyesters, melamine resins, epoxies, saline and siloxanes, and oils. Binders can be categorized according to the mechanism for film formation. The first one is the thermoplastic mechanism, includes drying and called sens. Drying refers to simple evaporation of the solvent or thinner to leave a coherent film behind. Coalescence refers to a mechanism that involves drying followed by actual interpenetration and fusion of formally discrete particles. Thermoplastic film forming mechanisms are sometimes described as thermoplastic cure, but that is a misnomer because no chemical curing reactions are required to make the film. Thermostatic mechanism or thermostatic mechanism, on the other hand, are true curing mechanisms that involve chemical reaction among the polymers that make up the binder. In thermoplastic mechanism, Some films are formed by simple cooling of the binder. For example, encaustic or wax paints are liquid when warm and harden upon cooling. In many cases, they re-soften or liquefy if reheated. Paints that dry by solvent evaporation and contain the solid binder dissolved in a solvent are known as liquors. A solid film forms when the solvent evaporates because no chemical cross-linking is involved. The film can redissolve in solvent. As such, liquors are unsuitable for application where chemical resistance is important. Classic nitrocellulose liquors fall into this category, as do non-grain rising paints composed of dyes dissolved in solvents. Performance varies by formulation, but liquors generally tend to have better ultraviolet resistance and lower corrosion resistance than comparable systems that cure by polymerization or cold seasons. The paint type known as emulsion. It means that this is the paint dye which is known as emulsion in UK and latex in the United States in a water-borne dispersion of submicrometer polymeric particles. These terms in their respective countries cover all paints that use synthetic polymers such as acrylic, vinyl acrylic or PVA, styrene, acrylic, etc. as a binder. The term latex in the context of the paint in the United States simply means an aqueous dispersion. Latex rubber from the rubber tree is not an ingredient. These dispersions are prepared by emulsion polymerization. Such paints cure by a process called pulsensis, where first the water and then the trace or calcining solvents evaporate and draw together and soften the binder particles and fuse them together into irreversible bound network structures so that the paint cannot be redissolved in the solvent or water that originally carried it. The residual surfactants in paints as well as hydrolytic effects with some polymers cause the paint to remain susceptible to softening and over time degradation by water. The general term of latex paint is usually used in the United States, while the term emulsion paint is used for the same product in the United Kingdom, and the term latex paint is not used at all. Thermostatic mechanism. Paints that cure by polymerizations are generally one or two packages coatings that polymerize by a way of a chemical reactions and cure into a cross-linked film. Depending on composition, they may need to dry first by evaporation of the solvent. Classical two-pack epoxides or polyurethanes would fall into this category. The drying oil counterintuitively actually cure by a cross-linking reactions even if they are not put through an oven cycle and seem to simply dry in air. The film formation mechanism of the simplest example involves first evaporation of solvents followed by the reaction with oxygen from the environment over a period of days, weeks, and even months to create cross-linked networks. Classic alkyl enamels would fall into this category. Oxidative cure coating are catalyzed by macrocomplex dyes such as cobalt naphthenate. Recent environmental requirements restrict the use of volatile organic compounds, and alternative means of curing have been developed generally for industrial purposes. Ultraviolet curing paints, for example, enable formulation with very low amounts of a solvent or even none at all. They can be achieved because of monomer and oligomer used in the coating have relatively very low molecular weight and are therefore low enough in viscosity to enable good fluid flow without the need for additional thinner. If a solvent is present in significant amounts, generally it is mostly evaporated first and then cross-linking is initiated by ultraviolet light. Similarly, powder coating contains little or no solvent. Flow and cure products by heating of the substrate after electrostatic application of the dry powder. The next is the combination mechanism, so-called catalyzed liquors or cross-linking latex. Coatings are designed to form films by a combination of methods, that is the classical drying plus a curing reactions that benefit from the catalyst. There are paints called plastiosol or organosols which are made by blending PVC granulars with a plasticizer. These are soaked and they mix courses, diluent or solvent or thinner. The main purpose of the diluent are to dissolve the polymer and adjust the viscosity of the paint. If it is volatile and does not become the part of the paint film, it also controls flow and application properties, and in some cases can affect the stability of the paint while in the liquid state. Its main function is as the carrier for the non-volatile component. To spread heavier oils, for example, linseed, as is oil-based interior house paints, a thinner oil is required. These volatile substances impart their properties temporarily. Once the solvent has evaporated, the remaining paint is fixed to the surface. Water is the main diluent for water-borne paints or water-based paints, even the co-solvent type. Solvent-borne, also called oil-based paints, can have various combinations of organic solvents as the diluent, including aliphatics, aromatics, alcohols, ketones, a white spirit. Specific examples are organic solvents such as petroleum distillate, esters, glycol, ether, and are the like. Sometimes volatile, low molecular weight synthetic resins also serve as diluents. Water-based paints contain organic solvents and many additives such as biocides, surfactants, pigments, binders, amines, and monomers. The chemical complexity may introduce new potential health hazards to house painters, in particular irritative and allergic disorder. Recently, environmental problems on global scale are gathering keen attention. It's also coating industries. Attempts for environmental improvement are positively advanced. In particular, most of the volatile organic solvent is discharged during the coating steps and effective countermeasures is all of urgent necessity. With the view to reduce volatile organic compounds discharge, conversion of paint in general to water-based type is being advanced. However, conventional water-based paint generally is inferior in coating film performance, such as mechanical properties and water resistant as compared with water solvent-based paints. While it is generally effective for improving coating film performance to use high molecular weight resins, in particular acrylic resins, there is a problem that causes use of, for example, intraparticulate cross-linking type high molecular weight acrylic resin emulsion degrades finished appearance such as coated surface smoothness and coating workability. The water dispersible acrylic polymer particles which are used in the water-based paint composition of the invention have a unique property that their liquid dispersion in 1,4-dioxane solvent has extremely high transparency. Although the polymer has such a high molecular weight as at least 1100,000 for water-based paints containing high molecular weight polymer particles, usually cross-linked polymer particles are used in most cases, and in which polymer particles when dispersed in 1,4-dioxane solvent show low transparency. In the coating film formed of such water-based paints containing cross-linked polymer particles, however, the polymer particles are apt to be irregularly distributed like Iceland in a sea Iceland structure. Paints can contain a variety of harmful chemicals, posing not just a healthy risk to the people who use them but also to those who may be exposed to them for years afterward, and the wider environment. Lead, a toxic heavy metal with a variety of health impacts, was widely used as a paint pigment and additive until the environmentally aware countries started banning it or restricting its use. Of course, that was not the end of the lead in paints or the petroleum it posed. Building and other things painted with lead continue to pose a risk for years afterward as the paint flares off and turn to potentially toxic dust. And though banned in some parts of the world, lead paint still frequently crops up in a newspaper scared stories about badly painted children's toys. In 2007, for example, the giant Metal One Corporation had to recall almost 1 million toys covered in lead paint made in China. As recently as 2018, over 40 years after its 1977 ban, the United States CPSC recalled over 31,000 rubber toys because of concern over levels of lead that exceed the federal lead paint ban. Lead is not the only harmful substance used in paints. Some of the solvents used in paints are volatile organic compounds which evaporate to make localized air pollution and can have a variety of long-term health impacts. Fortunately, many modern latex paints now use water as a dissolvent and a synthetic polymer plastic as the binder and are relatively safe compared to old paints. Paint manufacturers have made impressive efforts to reduce the harmful solvents in their products over the last few years. In Europe, this trend has been driven partly by consumers and partly by legislation. A set maximum limit of 30 grams per liter of volatile organic compounds on water-based paints and related products. If you look carefully on modern European paint schemes or on the data sheet you find online, most now reveals whether they are low or high order and typically even specify the percentage of volatile organic compounds that contain on a simple scale. Minimum volatile organic compounds are considered when they are less than 0.29%. Low volatile organic compounds are considered when they are 0.3 to 7.99%. Medium volatile organic compounds are considered between 8 to 24.99%. High content of volatile organic compounds are considered in paints when they are present between 25 to 50%. Very high volatile organic compounds are present in the paints when they are over 50%. Another important aspect of the paint industry is to dispose of paints safely. Disposing of old and unwanted paint is also a problem. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, roughly 10% of the paint we buy is never actually used. If you simply tip it down a drain, you are adding potentially toxic chemicals to the wastewater, risking water pollution in rivers and oceans, harming aquatic or marine life, and potentially harming human life too when the water cycle is way back into our drinking water supplies.